In this video, we're going to be upgrading our F07 Huey UH-1D to a full collective pitch 3D helicopter using this upgraded flight control board, and also changing out the status light, because as we found out in previous attempts with the F08 helicopter, the status light for the previous board doesn't work with the upgraded board. So without further ado, we're gonna as always remove the blades first. And in this process, I'm going to show you how to change different components of this helicopter if you have a crash. So obviously the blades are easy to replace. You just take it off and maybe balance it, maybe you don't, but most of the times these blades don't need any balancing. But it's just taking everything off. Your press fit. I will mark the tail blade. Put a dot here so that we know which side is out, so you don't have to guess later. Take it out. This is just for safety purposes. You really don't need to take this out, but I take the blades off. Also, please be careful, because the motors on this helicopter can draw in small screws, and you would not be a happy camper if the screws go in the motors. Next, we take the canopy. Landing gear. So I'll show you how to get to the shaft, how to replace the shaft, how to replace the blade grips. We'll go through all those components. But the first order is to replace the board, upgrade. There are 4 screws in there, don't lose them. Take off the pods and the machine gun. Okay. So now we proceed to taking off the canopy. 4 screws here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. I'm going to break this helicopter apart, show you the internals, and proceed with changing the board and the signal light. This comes out just like that. So here's your ESC in the bottom, and on top is your board, is the gyro board, flight controller. These are the various, that's the light, the red light. This is the motor. No, sorry, this is the rear light. This is the, nope, this is the green light. We're going to figure out this one is the signal. We'll find out. We'll open it now. So to get the rest of the helicopter open, there's one screw back here that's hidden. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And those two will have to come out too. A number of screws. So I'll do this off camera and then come back. One thing I wanted to note is that there's some of the areas that you take the screws off that they're longer. Like this one here is longer than the rest of them. And the way I think I'd like to do that is put a little, maybe some kind of marker, maybe with a pencil, mark it that with an X. You can always take that out. So I'm just continuing with removal of the screws, but that's one that was longer. Wanted to note it to you. Okay, we're continuing. These two are for the motor. It just holds the motor in place. They come off. Basically pushes the, there are two other hexes that are for the blade. So there are four bolts here on the motor. 2 on this side and 2 for the blade. Again, I'm not gonna, you just know that you need to monitor what size screws you take out. However you want to do it. Okay, now it's ready to be split apart. We just, and there's another screw here. Don't force it. Make sure you understand why it's not opening. If it's not opening, I'm sure you have missed some screws somewhere, and right here. And right here. And she should just open up, and there's another one somewhere here. Oh, right here. See this one right here? Again, not hard, just you got to be systematic and take your time, as there's a lot of screws here and you might lose them. Okay, now there's a few screws that did not. I'm going to disconnect this light. So there's some screws that didn't come out of their holes, and how I just want to go back and push them through, make them come out so we at least account for them. That's 2. These are also not coming out. They just get stuck, but we want to make sure they come out and we don't lose them. Get all the screws out. Okay, it seems like they're all out except for this guy here. Get this one out too. Long one. Okay, so this is the other half. Now let's look at the inside of this helicopter. Again, this is a very nice design. They have a carbon fiber reinforced tail. On the F06, they don't have this. This basically probably makes it much more sturdy and it doesn't break easy. This is your tail motor wires coming through, and it goes to this point here. This is your tail motor wire. I'll take that out. Don't want to pull it too hard, but slowly work it out. Okay, and the way I like to do this is I'd like to number the servos. So I think this is 1, 2, and 3. We'll number them as such. This will be 1. 2. And 3. Remember how this was. And this here is the optical flow sensor. That we're no longer going to have that. So this optical flow sensor comes out completely. We don't need it anymore. I'm going to just leave it, take it out. Carefully cut this tie rod, tie wrap. So here's your optical flow sensor. Put that aside. You can disconnect the red light too, and this thing comes out. Now, this is the status light for the board, okay? We need to replace it with a new status light because that one doesn't work with the new board. So we'll go ahead and do that. And it should be very similar. Pull it out. It's glued in. Okay, pull that out. And you see how it's put in, it's exactly this way. And we'll do the same thing. This one we don't need. Take this out. Okay. And this exhaust just slides in place after when you want to put it back together. So this is your F07, about to become F07 3D or V. The doors slide open and close. There, as you can see, there are 2 screws here that basically hold the door, and it goes back and forth. Okay, so we're going to put this. So we took out the old signal wire, the board status signal, and the optical flow. These are now spares. Okay, so this is the mechanical frame and motor and servos. It's the main component of the internals. Here you have obviously the motor. It's a 1200 kV 2511 motor. You have the servos, 3 servos. You got the aileron, the pitch, aileron, and elevator servos. This is the linkages holding the servo arms to the swash plate. You have the main shaft. You have the blade grips, and you have the arms connecting the blade grips to the swash plate, 2 of them. You have the Jesus bolt. This is the Jesus bolt, the 1 bolt holding the main head together to the shaft. You have obviously your electronics here. Your ESC is underneath here, and you have your gyro sitting on top of it, gyro flight control board on top of it. The battery fits in here. Let's see what else you got here, obviously. So what I'd like to do is take out the head assembly and show you what it entails. There's a feathering shaft in there. That is one of the main components that bends. It's by design in a crash. One way to see if it's bent is by putting your screw, hex wrench here and rotating it. And if you see this part going up and down, then it means it's bent. This is not bent, but we're going to open it for you and show what's inside. The way to do that is first you have to disconnect the linkages carefully. You just have to turn it around a little bit, and it disconnects. Comes right off. Okay, not too hard. Gently turn it, and it comes off. So you disconnect these links from the swash plate here and here. There's 2 of them. Then you proceed to open the Jesus bolt. This is a 4mm wrench here. Put it here, and then you have your 1.5mm. Open it. Don't lose the bolts. Okay, so now you take the head assembly off, right off the shaft. So this is your blade grips. Blade grips, links to the swash, the head. Inside here you have your feathering shaft. To remove the feathering shaft, you have to have 2 1.5mm hexes here, hex wrenches, and you turn it. And one side always loosens up first. And here's 1 screw. All you need to take off is 1 screw. When you take it off, be careful, because make sure you understand exactly how it's coming apart. There's a bushing here, and the flat side is towards the head. Okay, take that out, and this screw sits here. This is the head. Here, you notice there's a bearing. There's a ball bearing here. And typically there's some spacers in there as well. So if they come apart, make sure you understand what the assembly looks like. There are two bearings, one on this side, and one on that side. And in between, there are spacers. So we won't touch that right now. Also, to remove these, you remove this Phillips head screw. But notice again, there are two washers here that allow this thing to move. You don't have, this should not be tightened fully. It should be able to move. Okay? So then you push this out. There are rubber dampers here. So in here, you'll see that there's a damper. This is a rubber damper. It fits in here. Okay, so this is that. And here's the feathering shaft. It comes right out. Again, we're going to monitor how everything came out. So you notice this, the sequence. The sequence is like this. And the feathering shaft is here. So you would open this bolt by holding it and then opening it and then putting the new one on. So a lot of times factories forget to lube this component. This needs to be lubricated. And what I use is a Tri-Flow grease. Basic, just put some grease on it, a little bit. Make sure it's nice and covered. And I'll put it back in. We already know that the damper goes first here. Okay, then the washer, the flat side goes towards the head assembly. So push it back in and then use this other hex to push it in. Push the other damper back in. Then you put your other washer, flat side, or sorry, the bushing, and then your head assembly. Make sure you put it the right way because the screw only screws in from top to down. So that means the grip is linkage is to the top. Push it together. And here's the other part that I put a little tiny bit of blue Loctite. Very tiny. Not much at all. Like just that much. Look at that. You don't want this to seep out. It'll go into the bearing. And also, since this is a plastic grip, you don't want any issues with that. Okay, you hand tighten this. You don't do it too tight. What you want is this to be loose. It should be loose. The Loctite will get tight overnight. Not to worry about that. Okay, so this is your head assembly. Main components that you replace are the blade grips and the feathering shaft. And when you replace the blade grip, typically they come with these links. So if you do break one and you want to just reuse it, you can always unscrew and put it back together. But be careful with these washers. Okay, so that's put aside. Now the next thing to replace on these is the shaft. Okay, so how do you take the shaft out? To take the shaft out, you have to unscrew this bolt here there's a grub screw here, right here. You loosen that, so it goes up and down. And next thing you do is the screw down here on the motor, you loosen that up too. But this is sometimes tight, okay? The way to, because they have thread lock in there. If you attempt this without heating it up, you're gonna break the screw and your screw is gonna get, it'll stay in there. So what I do is I heat this up with my soldering gun and let the thread lock melt. See, it's much smoother. It comes right off. So don't force it. You're gonna break or shear this screw off. Okay, this comes off right there. So the next thing, you pull it down. And the shaft is right there. The shaft is right here. We'll put this back on. Put the shaft, let's see, you gotta take this, take the washer, this is the linkage from the servo to the swash plate. We take that out. Take that out. So it looks like we have to take the stopper out to the washer, the swash plate stopper. This stopper, when it comes off, the whole thing comes off. And you see there's a little groove here that the elevator ball link goes in. That comes off. Okay, so these all come off. I opened one screw. This screw is, this assembly holds the servos in place, the aileron and pitch servo. And when you take that off, you can actually just remove the servo. You see this? You can just remove it. Simple. There's a groove there that this servo just fits right in. We don't want to do that right now, but if you were to replace the servos, this is how you would do it. We're just trying to get the shaft out here. I'll put this back in. Screw it back in. Okay, so here's the shaft. Collar comes off. And this thing, there's two ways you can do this. You can either take the motor out completely and tap this out of the motor, or you could do it while it's assembled. Probably best thing to do is take it out with the motor, okay? Here's the motor. These are the magnets around the motor. Okay, and here's this shaft. What I mean is I put it here and I gently tap it out. And the shaft comes out. There. So this is the shaft. So if the shaft is bent, it's probably going to be very difficult to pull it out like that. It's better to take the motor assembly off along with that bolt and then do it that way. Okay, so we'll put it back in. Just push it right back in. And you line the holes. I'll show you what I mean by what I just told you. Remember, there's a groove here. This goes back in that groove. Okay, so pretend we just replaced the shaft, okay? The shaft is bent. You open this up, you take everything out. So if the shaft is bent, you're probably it's easier for you to just take it out like this and open that screw and tap it out. So we'll put that back. Okay, now let's put the head assembly back together. It really is very simple. I mean, I'm trying to be very detailed here, but it's very simple. These linkages all, you know, go back together. But once you put this, you put the collar back, and the groove side goes on the bearing. And there's a flat side here, flat side on the shaft. You see that flat side on the shaft? That's where your grub screw has to go, right here. And I always put a tad bit of thread lock on this bolt, on this grub screw. Very small. And you put it right there. And you don't want to have any play between the shaft and the motor should not go up and down. It should be rock solid, okay? So next we put the swash plate. Now when you look at the swash plate, you're going to see 3 ball links for each servo. The longest one is going to be for the elevator to the back. So you put this on and you bend this back a little bit. There's a groove here that you fit it through, and there you have your swash plate. You reconnect your elevator ball link, then your respective, I'm just making sure it's the right side. Push it in, makes a clink. One side is smaller than the other, okay? Line it up so that the right side is going on. So this one is for this side. If it's not going in, then there's an issue. Don't force it. Okay. Okay, let's put the head assembly back on, and then we'll get to the board. Jesus bolt goes back on. Okay. Hand tight. Okay. Then we put the links again on the swash plate. Clicks right on. 1. Careful, don't push it too hard. Again, this stuff is very delicate. So we're back to where we were. Okay, so now you know how to replace the motor. If you want to replace the motor itself, you know there's a screw here that you open and the motor itself comes off too. But you learned how to replace the shaft, the feathering shaft, blade grips, you know, linkages here, these linkages, servos. And now we're going to replace and upgrade the flight control module. Okay, time for the flight control module. This is the board from the F07V or 3D. We're going to take it out and install it. Now if you look at this board, this is the bind plug I was talking to you about earlier. You press that. If you replace, you know, to bind it, you have to press that, and then the helicopter will bind to your new transmitter, because you're going to have to abandon your old transmitter and now use a transmitter that has throttle curves and pitch curves. As long as it's a Futaba-based transmitter or maybe a radio link, you can do that. But this is the bind button. So let's go ahead and open the board. All you have to do is take this out. It's very important that the board doesn't move, that it's tied down to something. Otherwise, your tail and the whole helicopter is not going to operate properly. It's going to vibrate. There are two screws inside this that I'll show you. Okay, so the board sits on the ESC. You have to disconnect it. So it basically just comes right off. And it has an antenna. The new board does not have an antenna. So this is your ESC. This is where your battery power comes in. This is your motor connection for the tail, and then the main motor connections are here. Okay. So we have to take out this board. These are the screws I was talking about. You have to undo these screws. There's 3 of them here. Undo these screws. And this board comes off. So this is your old board, okay? See, this has an antenna here. This one doesn't have an antenna connection. No antenna connection. Okay, so this board is going to have to fit. There's another assembly I'm going to get. Okay, when you order the board, the new board, you can order the box as well, because the box itself has a nice, the box, the old one assembly doesn't really match the new, so it's better to get the new box as well. I didn't, so I made this match. I made the groove here so that it fits. Okay, so then just put this in. Make sure those screws are in as well. I have screws here from the new board here. Put the screws back in so it's tight. Okay. Now, this is your old board. We set it aside. The F07V manual shows what goes where, okay, on this board. So if you recall, we numbered our servos. So servo 1, 2, and 3. We're going to go to the same sequence, 1, 2, and 3. Then it's your 5-volt bus, where and the DSMX. This is the PPM, and then DSMX and DSM2 connector. Here is the indicator that we have, the status indicator. Then it's your the red LED and the green LED. Okay, so we can follow here. So the way you put this back on is gently and carefully put the grooves back in. Make sure that it fits on the ESC, and press it down softly. Use the other screws because I made this from another gyro container. Anyways, I would get the new box for these, because it also comes with all the connection points identified already. So 3 things to upgrade. Obviously the board, the status indicator light, and the box, or the protective cover, whatever you want to call it. But the most important part on this part is making sure that the board is connected to the top board with those screws that I showed you, and it's not loose. Okay, so as we saw, this is how it is. So we got servo 1. This is 1. Goes in the first one. That's channel 1. I'm just following the same sequence as the other guy. 2. Here. And 3. Okay. So now we have the servos connected. I think we should bind it. We're going to bind this to the transmitter. Okay, so make sure it's in the right model. Make this second model. I put all the inputs for the F07V. The manual has all the inputs, and I've already put in here. I'll go over it in a second. Okay, let's bind this new gyro receiver to the transmitter. So I went and selected my model. I'll go through the details in a second of what inputs I put in this transmitter, but we're going to bind, okay? So to bind, I'm going to turn the helicopter on, put it on the model that you want, okay? Hold the transmitter close, and press this bind button, and this little bind button on the corner. It goes off, and then it's going to go into that mode, and bind. So it's now bound. So you go right aileron, left, right, left, forward, backwards, forwards, backwards. It's working. So this is all bound. So let me just check the throttle. There you go. Okay, now let me go through the inputs I put in the radio for this. Okay, this is all from the stuff that was recommended by Yuxiang for the F07V. So the throttle curve, you know, it's the normal is 0, 65 flat, and then for 3D, it's all 70 throughout, from positions 1 through 5 on this transmitter. This is the Yuxiang transmitter. Although it says Yiqin, it's the same. On the pitch curve, on the normal, it's 40, 45, 50, 65, and 80. And for 3D, idle up 20, 35, 50, 65, and 80. Note that on point 3, it's 50 and 50, and then after that, they're identical. This is so that if you switch over from normal to 3D, you don't have a pitch up or a pitch down. It should be similar. And the only thing you should notice is an increase in your RPMs from 65 to 70%. Now, everybody can use their own transmitter, but I'm using the Yuxiang transmitter. So what I do is, let's go and see the inputs. Okay, the reverses, I don't touch the reverses. I let it be the same. Just don't touch that. They're all the same. Sub trim, I didn't touch that either. Swash plate is at 90. Okay, the 90. Model type is helicopter. Again, you select your model. I've selected that. The gyro on 6G is at 75%. On 3D, it's at 25. They're all stock values. And then the pitch curve for normal, as I said, is 40 for the first one, 45 for the second one, 50, 65, 80. And then for 3D, first one is 20, 35, 50, 65, and 80 again. Okay? So going on to throttle curve, I told you that before. Again, for on normal 0, 65 flat all the way to 5. And for 3D, it's 70 flat. All of them 70. Okay? Very simple. And for my expo, I have 0 throughout. And the due rate let's go due rate for aileron, it's 80 and minus 80. For elevator, it's 80 and minus 80. And for rudder, it's 80 and minus 80, all 80% on due rates. And these are all stock from any Yuxiang radio that you have like this for a helicopter. So the way I'm putting this back is I align the cover for the signal light, and this exhaust goes on like that. Took a while for me to remember how this went, but that's how it was. So you gently put the mechanics back in. and the wires need to be managed properly. So the best way to do this is put one side first, bolt it down, and go to the next slide. And this carbon rod goes in the middle. Okay, so you put a couple of screws back on, you line it up. This goes in the middle, right next to the servo. And once you put a couple of screws on, I put this one on, this screw on, and this screw to hold the frame while you do the rest of the work. The motor is here, and it goes back and connects into this hole here, in this connection. Okay, and all these wires need to be away from the motor, and we're going to put a wrap here, right where it was before, and make sure that all the wires are secured and not going to go into the motor or any of the rotating parts. Okay, now we take the other half. Oh, before we do that, cut this excess stuff out. This does test your patience, really does. I have to admit. Okay, so now you put this halves together. Okay, one thing that I just had to modify is that the signal status light, the new one has a different setup, and it doesn't fit properly and doesn't slide in the groove as it should. So I had to use an X-Acto knife and take out the bottom portion of the sliding and leave a little bit to the sides, so that this light, where the wires are connected, just slides in like that, without the wires being pulled apart. This is one of the mods you have to do if you want to keep if you want to have a signal or a status LED for the board, whether it's in 6G or 3G mode. You're going to have to do this. So then it just slides in this groove here without, tearing the wires apart. That's if you want to have this signal. So then just put it together. It's taken a while. It's this one's, because I wanted to keep this light, I wanted to do this mod. So you line up the groove right there, push it there, okay, and it should all snap into place on both sides. You no longer have your optical flow. Okay, and now you proceed to put your screws back on. Okay, I put all the screws back together. One thing I'd like to caution you on is in the back here, these screws are very short. They're the shorter screws, so make sure you put them aside, because if you use any other screw, it's going to go through and it's going to show on this side. You need the small screws on this side. This one, just the 3 back here. Anyhow, it looks good. I went ahead and put back the green light in here as well. And now we're going to put the skid back on, the blades, and we should be good to go. Okay, skids are on. I'm going to do a test. Turn it on. Turn the helicopter on. The light's working. Okay, it's in 6G mode. When I flip to 3D, it's red. Okay, so that I wanted that. So let's see the controls. Right aileron, left aileron, forward, backwards. Let's turn it on. It's going this way, so it's fine. And the direction of your blade grips, the links, are towards the direction of rotation, which is correct. Okay, so let's see if the swash plate is operating properly. When I lift it up, the swash tries to stay the same. You see that? It's trying to stay flat. Same with either direction, stays flat. So this is fine. Directions are fine, all that's fine. So we're gonna put the blade grips on, we're gonna calibrate the gyro and take first hover. Okay, I go over this on every build on these little guys. When you put these blades on, the important thing is the leading edge should be facing the linkage to the swash plate. Okay, and you tighten it until, you don't want it too tight, you don't want it too loose. This is too tight. You loosen it a little bit until it's, when you touch it, it doesn't swing all the way, okay? This is the right amount of tightness on both sides. Otherwise, if it's too loose, when the helicopter starts up, this will hit the corners of the blade grip and damage the edges of your blades. And if it's too tight, you're gonna have vibrations because the blades will never reach their center line. It won't center out when it goes up to speed. So this is good. Okay, so let's go ahead and do a first hover. And okay, it's time to test hover. Turn on the transmitter. Throttle cut is on. Turn on the helicopter. Okay. It's leveled. We're going to go and do a calibration hover. So you press this down. It's in calibration mode. And the nice thing is now you see the status light blinking. You know it's in calibration mode. We're going to hover and keep her steady and then land. Keep her steady. And land. Okay, now we're gonna accept and there. So let's take off again. Perfect. Okay, she's all back together. Beautiful. She flew nice. The curves are per stock recommendations. And I have no doubt it's going to fly just as good as my factory F07V. The only difference between the two, here's the F07V, the only difference between the two is the head. The head assembly on this one is metal, and that's plastic. It doesn't really matter. This is just an upgrade, but I think it'll be just fine with the plastic for now. You can always upgrade later if you want to, but I think it's fine. Again, the areas of slight mods was this lamp here, this LED. We had to shave off a little bit to allow the wires not to get squashed. Besides that, remember the screws I told you about back here. Make sure they're small screws, and then there's a bunch of longer screws in certain areas that I put an X on, like here, all the groove areas. I put an X. They're longer screws. Okay, so make sure you just note what size screw is coming out from which area. This is a very nice model. Beautiful. I hope this was helpful. Again, in this video, we not only did we upgrade our board to the 3D board, we also went through and saw all the components on the helicopter, the replacement of the shaft, the motor, servos, linkages, blade grips, head assembly. We went through and looked at the feathering shaft, blade replacements. Anyhow, all right then, until next one.